Thank you, Hillary, and welcome everybody. As we talk about employee communications, I think the first and sometimes the most important one is the big announcement on closing. It helps to have the employees be excited about their ESOP, as we all are. Sometimes that communication can go a long way to getting things started on the right foot. What we have on this slide is a summary of kind of minimum employee education needs from what is an ESOP. Employees don't know. There'll be a lot of questions around that. Overview of the provisions of the ESOP, what's it mean to each employee, how's it valued? Let's talk a little bit about each of those. First and foremost, employees should understand that their interest in the ESOP is a beneficial ownership interest in the trust. It's not a direct interest in the shares. That helps with administration and the like, but effectively they will be recognizing the benefits as if they had owned the shares directly. Oftentimes employees will look and scratch their head and say, what does this cost me? Nothing comes for free. Well, in fact, the ESOP does not cost the employee anything. It's very, very unusual for anything to come out of an employee's pockets. You may see some 401k money swing into the ESOP, but typically the ESOP is a benefit on top of the other benefits the employee has. Risk to the employees. If this is a benefit that's truly on top of the existing 401k and the like, there is no incremental risk to the employees in the ESOP structure. It's only a benefit. The responsibilities of beneficial ownership, well, the responsibilities is now you effectively as an employee are a company owner, and you should be thinking and acting like a company owner, looking for ways to make the company worth more money for yourselves and for the rest of your employees. A quick overview of the ESOP provisions. The ESOP shares are granted to the employees over a period of time through contributions, employee benefit contribution of the company. It's not unusual to see those shares being granted over 20, 30, 50, sometimes 70 years to employees. And the reason that we do that is to manage benefits that employees aren't over-benefited or under-benefited in the process. Employees will be vested in the company over time. Statutory limits say we can cliff vest everybody at 3 years, or we can vest people equally over 2 through 6 in a 20% annual clip. What this does is it makes sure that the ESOP benefit is accruing to employees who are going to be long-term employees of the company. Saves administration, quite frankly, as well. When it comes down to who gets what and how much, and how you'll know what's allocated to you, the ESOP shares are typically allocated pro rata based on your relative salary. There is a cap at the high end, so the ultra high end paid employees don't get quite as much maybe, but in general, those shares will go equally to all of the employees. In terms of when you get your cash, this is a retirement benefit. You're not going to be able to withdraw your cash early in the process, and typically on retirement, the shares are paid out. Your value in your account is paid out over 5 years, sometimes just a little bit longer. With respect to those distributions, again, the payout terms are lengthy, and that's intentionally so to make this sure it's a retirement account. On death and something like that, disability, for sure you'll get your spouse or survivor will get paid out right away. But what we don't want through the ESOP is to have employees find that, gosh, I've got a nice account, I'm going to go buy a boat. This is a retirement account. How is the stock valued? Can I impact the value? The stock, and Hillary will talk about this in a little bit, but the stock is going to be valued annually by a professional valuation firm. Looked at cash flows of the business, equal comparable companies, things along those lines. Can you impact the value of the business? Absolutely. What you can do to make the company more profitable or generate more free cash flow will directly impact the value of the business. From the ESOP administration side, there's a lot going on with ESOP. This isn't a point in time and one shot and you're out kind of a situation. What we're showing here is a typical ESOP timeline. What I'll say that most of these steps in this timeline are done by a third-party administrator. There's an awful lot of detail and paperwork and bookkeeping and all the rest that goes into this. Is probably something that if you're not already doing, you might want to consider outsourcing. It starts with the company audit preparation, getting your numbers ready for the audit, your payroll analysis, knowing who's in the plan, getting a financial audit done or reviewed statements done, wherever those might be. As those statements are being done, a firm like Prairie will do the stock valuation, which intermeshes with those statements. With all that done, the plan administrator will do the plan accounting, get the participant statements issued, take care of that side of things. Now we're into June and we start talking about diversification and distribution notices. We'll talk about this a little bit more detail a little bit later, but this is basically saying who's getting what money and when. In July, the ESOP audit needs to be done. The Form 5500 filing, typically done by the TPA, perhaps your accountant. August and September, we start doing funding analysis, making distributions. October and December, through that time period, you start thinking about what went well and what didn't go well, and do we need to make plan amendments or changes.